Hello, I'm DB Velocity, and I'm back with another Isolation Sessions video, and today I'm using the OB-6 from Dave Smith Instruments. It's pretty obvious that I would have such a love for this polyphonic analog synth, and I just had to do a video that focused on it, with its super lush filter topology. You probably know what it's all about if you're watching this. If you're not familiar, this version has a pretty basic structure for everything, including the modulations, and that structure is pushed a little bit further with the Xmod section, though it's no crazy matrix for routing. It's essentially taking a simple source amount that is bipolar from either the filter envelope or the second oscillator, which can be toggled for LFO range, and then splitting or multing the send to several destinations. And this splitting the send from a set amount also applies to the global LFO and the aftertouch section. Simply though, this synth is all about the filter design, with its effect to the oscillators, which are also a bit unique. The Oberheim sports a state variable two-pole filter that smoothly sweeps from low pass to notch and then to high. And then there's a toggle for bandpass mode. And all of this imparts a very unique character compared to the likes of Moog or Roland or Korg and etc. So with the basic intro to the main synth covered, let's set up some rules for how I'll approach this session. And as usual, you can find timestamps in the description if you want to just get to the goods. Time to explore. So the inspiration for today's session came about as I was playing around with a bunch of the preset sequences on the OB-6. And when I came across number 104 again, it just caught my ear as one of the better examples of how this synth can shine. I initially wanted to grab the sequence and maybe play around with the progression and chord structure on the MPC. But when I attempted to capture the sequence MIDI data and play it back, I found it wasn't translating exactly the same as on the internal sequence. It's unclear if the sequencer is transmitting all the data needed or if the MPC is not capturing all of it or whatever the case may be, but instead of troubleshooting, I decided to just go ahead and move on and use that progression as is because it is a rather inspiring little sequence there. And this led me to the idea of using the MPC clips, and I know what works best for me when it comes to building clips is to use the looper function on the MPC because then I can have the captured loops set to the exact bar length that I want and even layer with overdubbing, then export the samples and build up a clip program. And as you can see, I've already got the MIDI and audio connections all hooked up, and then I've enabled the input on the MPC. So now when I hit play on the MPC, it will start the sequence, and you can listen to the chord structure that I've been referring to. Okay, so we noticed that it looped around a couple of times there. So what I'm going to need to do is set this to 8 bars. Another thing I'm going to do real quick is I'm going to go ahead and change the tempo down. So we'll do that. And we'll go back into the looper. It seems like my level's looking pretty good. I might dial it down just a hair. And let's go ahead and play. Yeah, so that looks about right. And then I just hit record, and it will wait until bar 1, and it will capture the full 8 bars, and then it will just continue to play that loop. So now I can stop the OB-6 and even turn the volume down on it, and it's just playing the loop directly there. You can see I've got that, and so now it's just a matter of exporting, and I can just kind of carry on from there. So what I'm going to do from here is I will save this sample and then I'll likely set up a temporary little drum kit that will give me a basic rhythm and a tempo to follow as I layer in a few more parts and play around with the sequences on the OB-6, or maybe just use MIDI data from the MPC and then capture the audio being played back into the looper. And then when I'm ready, I will delete the drum kit and create the drum tones on the OB-6 and layer in parts for the rhythm and stuff, so that all of the audio will be from the OB-6. I'll just kind of get to work doing that now. So let's fast forward. Okay, so I've been jamming along, and I just wanted to check in with you real quick and show you a few things that I've been up to. So you can see here I'm on track 2, and this is set up as my clip program. That's just my current layout, because on track 1 I had the drum kit, but what I've done is I've muted that out, because now I've already built up some percussive elements here. So I have the bass drum, the snare, hi-hat, and so on. So I have my OB-6 percussion there on bank B, and then on bank A we have our basic chord progression, the core of our song. So I just wanted to show this off real quick, because what I've done is I've put 3 instances of our chord structure here, but there's a difference, because on this pad the pitch shift is being applied so that it is playing at 1 octave up, and then here it is playing at 2 octaves up. And then I've gone into the pad mix and I've lowered their volumes respectively so that they don't dominate so much, but rather just add in to the fundamental chord. So when I trigger these, and you'll hear them come in and basically just reinforce our harmonics, but it does it in such a way where all the artifacts are there from the pitch shifting algorithm. It's just something that I thought sounded kind of really cool. I kind of like the effect overall, because it's sort of like hearing your audio at a different pitch but translated through B's or something. So you know, it's not something that I'll probably do a lot, but it is kind of nice here. So I have you know, different layers and kind of a basic mix being applied to all these layers, and I'm gonna carry on and continue building up more clips. And the way I've been doing most of it is by using a MIDI track where I have, you know, note data, I unmute it, I play it and get the sound that I want, and then I use the looper to capture the audio of that. And then I'll export that into my clip program. So that's how I've been capturing most everything. And then I mute it, mute the MIDI out so that it's not interfering. Anyhow, so there's a quick rundown of how I've been building all this, and I'm going to carry on, and when we come back, we're going to jam. And one other little thing that I decided to do was I wanted to add one little bit more element of live performance, and to do so I decided, well, maybe I'd forego my original clip sample here of the sequence from patch 104, and I would just let the sequence play off the OB-6 itself so that I could manipulate the parameters in real time, and then that way I have a little bit more of that live element happening during my performance. So let's get on with it. Time to jam. Okay, there it is. And as for my conclusion or final thoughts, the OB-6 is a wonderful instrument. Obviously, you can hear a lot of great tones that are coming out of it, whether it be bass or just chords and pads and other things. The percussive elements were very tricky to dial in. So that took a lot longer than usual, and I would say that the 2-pole filter is a lot of the reason behind that. Creating a kick drum was tricky because it does not go into self-oscillation, this filter, so I had to just kind of make do with it, and so it's not going to be the most versatile as far as sound design goes. If I had maybe more modulation matrix, or if I was actually routing a lot of MIDI control, then yeah, I could probably get into some possibilities there. But it is a great synth overall. I do enjoy using the clip tracks, and obviously I enjoy this synth. And I thank you all for watching, and I hope that was at least, somewhat entertaining and informative. Maybe you got something out of it, and if so, I would appreciate that thumbs up. And I'm DB Velocity, and thank you for checking out my channel. All right, hope to see you next time. Bye. You notice I actually stacked my bass drum, so I have layers of the same hit to create more thickness. So that was one of the tricks that I did there, was overdubbing and just building up layers of that tone.